Welcome to a crash course in the Texas PPR exam. By the end of this exciting review, you will hopefully have a firm grasp of the content and structure of the Texas PPR exam. So whenever I ask people what the letters PPR stand for, I am generally faced with a blank expression. In case you are curious, the letters PPR stand for Pedagogy and Professional Responsibilities. But what does that actually mean? Well, in short, the PPR tests your understanding regarding the proper procedures, methods, and responsibilities involved in teaching. These concepts are spread across 4 domains that encompass 13 competencies. Let's get down to the details. You have 2 options regarding the administration of the PPR exam: paper-based or computer-administered. The paper-based option is offered twice throughout the calendar year, and the computer-administered test is offered at various times throughout the year. In order to take the state exam, however, you must first pass the qualifier at the U of H Testing Center. As I said, in order to take the state exam, you must first pass the qualifier at the UH Testing Center. You should know, however, that there are a couple of significant differences between the UH and state exams. The state exam consists of 100 questions, 10 of which are experimental, is administered over a 5-hour period, and costs $120 to take. Conversely, the UH qualifier consists of 65 scored questions, 0 of which are experimental, is administered over a 3-hour period, and costs $15 per attempt. While the questions on the UH qualifier are representative of questions you will see on the state exam, you should note that the state exam consists of 35 more questions and therefore will require more endurance on your part. The PPR exam tests your knowledge across 4 domains which encompass 13 competencies. However, as noted by the chart on the right, not all domains are treated equally. As you can see from the chart, domains 1 and 3 comprise almost 70% of the entire exam, and you only need a 70% to pass. That said, when studying, you should focus on the domains that are most important on the PPR. All the questions on the PPR exam are multiple choice. However, there are different flavors of multiple choice questions. Single questions are those that do not have any associated reading material. As noted by the graph on the right, single questions comprise only 17% of the exam. Questions with stimulus material will include a short story or vignette and ask you to consider the given information in relation to a question or series of questions. If your stimulus has 2 or more associated questions, it is considered a cluster. Roughly 40% of the exam consists of stimulus questions, with 16% of those being clustered. Finally, decision sets are the most common questions on the PPR, comprising almost half the test. In a decision set, you will be provided with multiple stimuli throughout a series of 5 to 9 questions. Now that we understand the structure of the test, let's focus on the content. Take a look at Domain 1. What is this domain actually testing? One of the major problems that occurs when studying for standardized tests is that we fail to understand what is actually being tested. By no means do I want you guys to memorize each domain in competency. Instead, focus on what is actually being tested. Based on the description given, this domain is focused on creating effective and amazing instruction and testing. There's a crazy amount of text on this slide, right? It's kind of mind-numbing to look at. Who is excited about memorizing all these competencies? I didn't think so. Great news though, you don't need to memorize these competencies. Instead, you want to look for keywords within the competencies. I'll break it down for y'all. Competency 1. For all students, the instructor understands and implements knowledge of human developmental processes into lesson plans and assessments. Competency 2. Diversity is great, and lesson plans and assessments should benefit all types of students. Competency 3. The teacher should know how to design amazing instruction with appropriate learning goals and objectives. Finally, Competency 4. Lessons and assessments should be effective, engaging, and based upon established learning processes. Look, we're already on to Domain 2. Again, don't worry about memorizing the domain. Instead, focus on the keywords in the overall thrust of the domain. Here we are focused on making a happy classroom. Just like we did with the first domain and first 4 competencies, I want you to focus on the keywords and general idea. Here, Competency 5 is concerned with creating an effective, safe, and happy classroom in which all students are treated equally. Competency 6 is focused on ensuring the classroom is organized and the teacher can manage the students. Same thing as before, guys. What's the main purpose of this domain? If you were thinking something along the lines of effectively teaching and assessing all types of students, you are absolutely correct. Just like before, I want you to focus on the keywords and main idea of each competency. Here, Competency 7 is concerned with effective communication in a multitude of contexts. Competency 8 focuses on engaging students with the correct material. Competency 9 involves using technology to rock out your teaching. And Competency 10 is focused on providing students with timely feedback that is necessary for their success and educational growth. All right, we're already on to the last domain. What is this domain testing? If you were thinking something along the lines of your responsibilities as a teacher, you are on the money. All right, let's take a look at competencies 11 through 13. Competency 11 is focused on family involvement. Family involvement is important, and it's necessary that you as a teacher do everything in your power to communicate effectively with families. Competency 12 emphasizes that you, as a teacher, must continue enhancing your skills and professional abilities as long as you practice the art of teaching. After all, you are lifelong learners. Finally, Competency 13 states that you need to be ethical and follow state laws. After all, it only makes sense. Awesome! You've now reviewed all the major concepts that are tested on the PPR exam. Now it's up to you to learn the material in practice. There are a number of books, such as the one on the right, available for you to purchase. These books include practice exams that will identify your strengths and weaknesses on the PPR exam. I would also highly suggest that you study PPR vocabulary. If you Google Texas PPR vocabulary, people who have come before you have created a number of vocabulary games that you can play and enhance your PPR vocabulary. As with any standardized test, make sure that you study, take your practice exams, take your time, check your answers, and use your brain.